I am live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Hello, everybody. My name is Modesta Mahiga. Today, we're discussing entrepreneurs. We are going through times of crisis, and there is not going to be a more important topic for you than today. So buckle up. We're talking about how to engage people with a track record of being responsible, reliable, resourceful, and resilient. Tell everybody, I was going to say your mama and your cousins, literally everybody who is at this moment thinking I'm under-resourced, who's thinking maybe I'm going to diversify, put some of my things online, who's thinking, I can't be going in. Who can I trust? Whether it is somebody on your current team or you're looking at people in the marketplace, hear me well. This is my new tagline. Hear me well. Engage people with a track record of being responsible, of being reliable, of being resourceful, and resilient. Resilience is so key. So as we make the most of our hour, I want to let you know if there's anything on this series of how you can think big but grow strategically that you haven't heard, you haven't seen, you weren't there at the beginning. This is our 4th day of this series. You can get that on Personal Excellence Academy channel on YouTube. So let's start with these 3 non-negotiables. I always bring these 3 areas up for you, for me, for that matter, when it comes to distinguishing ourselves in a personal brand. But these will be the very same 3 C's that you will look out for when you're looking at engaging somebody, whether it's to choose of everybody you have on your team, who gets to stay, who can represent us right now, or you're looking at either fortifying your business, getting new people, or outsourcing. This is what you look out for, because at the end of the day, even if it's talking about organizations, there are people behind organizations, which is why often in consulting, people would like to see the CVs of the principal consultant, of any subcontractors. Why? They want to know the people, the individuals that will be engaged on their project. May I have a glass of water, please? I feel like I already need a glass of water. Let me get my water on. Thank you very much. You're so kind, so kind. I see Eric, MC Lawrence, Sophia, Stephen, Sabah, you're always there. Thank you. Lungo, help me with this. Is it Lungo Wematomola? Forgive me. Lotus, hi, my pod at Mr. Cash First. Thank you very much. So we're continuing with our series for entrepreneurs, looking at how to pivot your strategy in times of crisis. 2 days ago, we're as honest as saying, if you need to shut down, you need to shut down. But should you decide to continue, there's some things you want to look out for. How you're going to manage your operations when you're under-resourced. You're going to look tomorrow. We're talking about how to automate a lot of what you do, how to go online for things that you had people coming to you because of social distance, because of the risk of infection. We're keeping away from each other. But for those businesses that can, in introspection, find that they have the agility, they have the flexibility to continue serving, we're learning about how you can do that effectively. And today, this is a big one. How do you engage people who you know will represent your business well? So the 3 C's to start with: look for people with character, people who are known to be ethical, to have integrity, to be transparent, to be fair. People who will do the right thing, whether or not somebody's watching, preferably when there's no one watching, when there are no immediate obvious consequences, especially doing right in situations and by people who they feel as if can do nothing to them if they did otherwise. People who choose to do right anyway, you want to align with people like that. So first thing you look out for is character. A voice in my head says, and you better be a person of character yourself. Like, that was a voice in my head. That wasn't me. I was just going out there looking for people of character. You better be a person of character yourself. So I'm just relaying to you what the voice in my head just said. Second C that you're going to look out for is competence. because I read this somewhere, and I'm trying to remember who said this, and I can't recall right now, but there is no point in having a person who's really good and they're honest and they truly, are transparent and fair, but they can't do the job. Have you ever hired somebody, engaged somebody to do something that was really nice and really honest, but they couldn't deliver? It didn't do that project that pursued any help, did it? No, it did not. So we want both character, but not character without competence. That is the knowledge, the skills, and the right workplace attitudes to be able to see this job to completion, to see it to completion timely, with excellence, and within budget. That would be nice. Or even under budget, right? Without compromising quality. You don't want people with competence. And I think it was Warren Buffett who said this. It's like the last thing you want is a person who's really intelligent, but they have no ethics, they have no character. You do not want that. So character is first and foremost. Second is competence. At the end of the day, you are an entrepreneur. You need people to move the needle in your business. You are in this to make profit. If you're running a not-for-profit, you're here to deliver the outcomes that you set out to. So you want to make sure that people have great character. That's brilliant. We're grateful. They have competence. The third C is connection. They need to be able to connect well with other people. So you're bringing people on board, and listen to this. And this is something, I don't know how I picked this up, but I'm very grateful for it. The people who represent your business is not just you, nor is it your deputy or the vice president, or maybe you're the managing director and somebody else is the executive director. It's not necessarily the people it's not only the people in senior management. Your business is represented by every single person that is engaged in your business. Every single person, down to the person that cleans your offices, down to the person that goes and takes, maybe the mail and goes and delivers things to your clients. They represent your business. They represent you. I'm going to say it again. Hear me and hear me well. So don't think I am going to get, the people that I trust that are close are the ones that, I'll get all kitted up and they speak right, they look right, they know this business, they're invested. Everybody needs to be. So in times of crisis, more than any other time, when sensibilities are high, people are sensitive to things, people are aware of things. Where you can save money, people want to save money. Where people can get extra, people want to get extra. People are conscious of service. People are very sensitive at the moment. And so you do not want this, how should I call it? I guess this transition period that we're all going through in a business to break down what you have built up until now. You want to use this situation we're in, with COVID-19 and what that has meant for businesses and economies. You want to so position your business right now to be able to catapult you to when the world goes back. Well, I don't know if it is a going back or moves forward to what business will look like after this. So you will be mindful. I even went as far as to use the word discriminate. Now, I don't mean you discriminate. I mean you need to be, what's the word? A little critical. You need to do some vetting. You need to be, you need to be aware. You need to evaluate the people that are going out that are representing your business, because everybody engaged with you is representing your business. Which is why we see businesses that are really invested in making a difference, to stakeholders, that are really invested in the communities, in the economies, in the markets that they, that they have a presence. They will even bring in stakeholders. These are agents, these are suppliers, this is even clients. They will bring them in, whether it's when they're going through, they have this annual party where they're doing, their reports and dividends, etc. They will bring in many stakeholders, really go through who they are, what they represent, and what they stand for, so that even those who are along the value chain of that business, and maybe the supply chain of that business, they understand who they're speaking to. They understand how this business distinguishes itself and therefore conduct themselves accordingly. Which takes me to say, it's key for you first to know, like that voice in my head just told me to tell you, it's good for you to know then what your purpose is, what your values are personally, what your vision, mission, and goals are, so that you are so pivoting your business. And like we've been saying all week, you're not going to pivot your strategy based on panic and what people are saying to do or not to do, which doesn't mean that you ignore them, but you first go back and look at your plan. So we're not pivoting based on panic, but pivoting based on plan. What was your plan as an individual for engaging in this business before we all go slapped upside the head? What was your business trajectory? Why does your business exist? Where was it going before COVID-19 hit and businesses are closing down, people are on lockdown, etc.? Because then you will pivot right now based on your personal motivations, professional, personal, financial impact goals, as well as your business strategy, your business goals, short, medium, and long term, so that as you're tweaking the decisions you're going to make as an entrepreneur right now in times of crisis, you're doing it against your plan and not just because that's what's happening around. And right now we're all panicking, running around like headless chickens and making decisions. It will come back and bite you on the behind. We're not going to do that. So ask yourself first, who am I? Where am I going? What are my non-negotiable principles, standards, values? What is the vision and mission that I have for myself and for this business? Because you want to look for people that will align with that. Because what I just said is every single person engaged in your business represents you. Not just senior management, not just the marketing and sales team, not just the business development professionals you have going out there. Every single person that comes under the name of your business represents your business. I'll come back to that. You will see why that's key. So now, why did I pull out of what you need to look for, the track record that the people you're going to engage with must have? Why did I pull out responsible? By the way, I hadn't written that on the poster, but I've added it since. Responsible, reliable, what did I write? Resourceful and resilience. I want you to take note of this. By the way, taking notes, I'm going to assume we're taking notes, right? That you're going to look for a person that is responsible for themselves, first of all. We're in times of crisis. Nobody has time to babysit anybody. We will talk about onboarding and leading later, and you'll see where it is key to still train and impart and equip. Yes, there's a role of that, but you do not want to get somebody who doesn't have a track record of being able to lead self. So a person who is responsible, you're not going to be making calls. By the way, have you already set up shop? By the way, have you already made that call to that client? Have you known? Then there's no point of engaging them. They will give you more headaches than they will give you, peace in your business. They're also responsible with others. Responsible in that, they make sure things are going well. And listen, this is one of the things that I absolutely love about leadership that debunks all the myths that we've heard about management. You can lead from any position you're in. Carla Harris says, lead from the seat you're in. So we do not wait to be responsible for others only when we're sitting on the seat and we have the title of being a leader or a supervisor. You're going to do that simply because you're working in a team and you understand each other's work, has an effect, has a bearing, has consequences for the other person's work. Which is why, side note, I'm already going off on my side notes. I do go off on these tangents, but these are important tangents. You want a person who's responsible for others in such a way. Remember when we're talking about the 3 C's of character, competence, and connection? Such a way that they foster good relations, that they promote cooperation, that they have good interpersonal relations, high emotional, intelligence. Why? You will have people of very diverse backgrounds, of very diverse interests and approaches that get to work together. You'd like to engage people in these times that appreciate that, and despite their personal preferences and their differences, will still keep the objective first and foremost. You are not family, and even in family, there are differences. Please understand, in a business context, People are there, they've been brought together because there is a common objective that they're there to meet. So you need to engage a person that's not just responsible for themselves. You can expect them to be timely, to go above the call of duty, to understand that when there is a snag, to be able to resolve it, but also be responsible to others. And in a way for others, of course, respecting boundaries. You cannot do things for people, but really being a person that promotes unity, that really facilitates ease of communication, etc. Because you're there because you have common objectives. If I start bringing in how I feel and what I prefer, and I felt bad, and when you said that, and when you walked in and you didn't greet me, and then when you did that, what I read from that is that you're doing this and you're doing that. Nobody has time for that. Nobody has time for that. So you need to get a person who will have the maturity, and I talk a little bit more about that later, to understand that we're here to meet certain objectives, and they can be the bigger person. And imagine you get 5 of these people who can be the bigger person and really rally behind the cause. Of course, there's a place of having healthy boundaries. You can't have people acting any which way simply because, we're here behind this cause. No. And that will be your job as the entrepreneur to make sure that these values and culture and the standards in which you're going to, the team is going to work together, delivers. But you want mature people on board. You want people who will be responsible for themselves and for others to make sure that they can facilitate the flow of things right now. All right. The other thing is you want them to be responsible for the business. Last thing you want is somebody to say, well, according to my job description, the world's in crisis. Make a plan. There are times I would need you to think outside the job description. As a matter of fact, things may change. This is why we're talking about agility. This is why we're talking about being resourceful. We're talking about being resilient. Things could change in us in a second. I mean, you guys have seen, in economies where governments are taking, measures, and policies can change overnight. Yesterday, just wear masks. Tomorrow, just 10 people gathering, or maybe it was 50, then 10, then no people gathering, and lockdowns have been extended. So things are moving and changing by the minute. You would like to have somebody who actually thinks the business and can be responsible for the business. You don't want to get in a situation where somebody is saying to your client, look, I was just told to do this, so I guess I can take the feedback back. Or do you want me to go back with this shipment because I'm not the final decision maker? You don't need that. So get people who will also think ahead, people who will think of the business and where you're going and what you would do if it were you. Of course, there's still a situation where they might ask for time and have a conversation with you on the side about that and move ahead. But you generally want a person that is collaborative and is moving things forward rather than dilly-dallying and just saying, these are the parameters of my job description. Because I've worked with people like that. I can't even explain the pain of that. Like, well, that's my job description, so I did what I'm supposed to do. What else did you want me to do? You shall thank me later. For those who still engage in business, whether you're deciding which of your entire team remains active and represent, of course, I'm sure you're still active and, is with you in representing your business, or you're looking to reinforce your current team or get completely different set of skills and expertise, that are better suited perhaps to address the issues that you're going through right now. You really want to make sure that you're looking at a person that's responsible, a person that's reliable. What I write here, pays attention to detail. Accuracy is thorough in what they're going through. Like right now, when pockets for many are tight, last thing you want is inaccuracies. The last thing you want is somebody didn't look through something thoroughly, quoted wrong, over-delivered something. You'd like a person that you can feel comfortable would be able to vet through their work, vet through anybody else's work that they have to, that they have responsibility for, and be able to deliver well. You want somebody that can deliver excellence. You want somebody that can deliver timely. This is important. It's very interesting. This is very interesting. I want you to take note of this. Just because everybody is more or less in the same boat with the disruption that COVID-19 has brought to business, doesn't mean that people will make excuses for you. So what I have noticed, for instance, you will have organizations, as soon as you get on their website, or as soon as you get on their app, or sometimes, you're on social media, as soon as you get on their page, they will give you a disclaimer, they will give you a warning, they will give you an announcement that, listen, due to COVID-19, our response times will be longer, our deliveries might take longer. They're letting you know in advance so that you can manage your expectations. And I would recommend that you do that too. Still endeavor to deliver. Obviously you cannot extend things for way too long. People have options, they'll go elsewhere. But put that out, it manages your customers' expectation that this could take a little longer. So one thing that I have noticed, my experience with Amazon, is they will tell you a day or two later than they truly do deliver. And I've noticed now consistently since the lockdown and since things started slowing down, they deliver a day before what they say. But they're giving themselves that day just in case, because life is happening at us at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So you might want to consider that, so that in your delivery, you can put in that buffer, or in the turnaround of your output, you can put in that buffer for both you and your team and your customers to manage expectations. Then you want a person that's resourceful. Like I said before, a person who thinks outside their job description, who thinks the business, who would put themselves in your shoes, even if they don't know everything that you know. But they can say, if I were the owner and this situation has come up, somebody who's a problem solver, somebody who takes initiative, somebody who's proactive, and who's innovative. So right now, this has happened. What do? Can think on their feet, so to speak, and come up with a decision, even if it's a transitional decision, even if it's a stalling tactic, even if it's a way to stall until they get more information or until they get the green light from you, so that they're still managing the business process, the business relationships well. Because this is what I've also noticed. Just like putting out that notification of things may be a little slower, please bear with us, but we're with you and we're going to deliver. The other thing that I've noticed, very interesting, unless you make this exception a habit, many times customers, honestly, even if it's businesses, are people. There are people behind this. And if you give them ample notice of something happened, or if as soon as you get the information, you're able to communicate to them that things aren't going to run as expected, they tend to understand. Of course, don't make this the rule now. Make this the exception. Now and then this will happen. So don't have somebody who will keep quiet or who will sit on a thing, or who just won't make any decision at all, or even any communication to placate and to have the customer at ease until they can deliver. You don't want that. So just as you would not want to be on the receiving end of that, please do not allow yourself or your people to be on the dishing end of that. So people who are resourceful, people who can think on their feet, come up with creative ways of addressing the issue, innovating something if it doesn't exist, as long as it is within the bounds of, your understanding of the kind of responsibilities and the decision making that they can do. Which means when I come to how then you can recruit, onboard, and lead this team, it means that you're going to really equip your people, then delegate to them not just tasks, but responsibility. If you do not want to lose your mind during this crisis and add another crisis on top of that, you're going to, first of all, recruit people very discriminately. You're going to make sure that you're recruiting them according to, and I'll share with you what you're going to consider, but also when it comes to really preparing them to do the best that they can for you and your business, you're going to have to, as the leader, as the vision bearer, as the owner, invest in your people so that you can release them to do what you know you hire them to do. Because if you recruited right, and I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, if you recruited right, then you know you already have the person with the character, the competence, and the connections. Connections meaning interpersonal relation, acumen, and the level of emotional intelligence to represent you well. So then let them go. Otherwise, you will be checking everything that goes through every single person, and that will frustrate you. The last R is resilient. Like I said, a person that's mature, a person that's composed, even if they're going through something, either them personally or with colleagues or with a client or with oh my goodness. Have I seen examples of people talking back at clients? I'm like, what? Like, do not even think, you don't scare me, you don't feed me, you don't. By the way, if you're getting paid, it's because of that customer. So I don't care, I quit. Now that person may quit, but that client, that customer is not going to be thinking about them as an individual. They probably won't even know their name. They're going to think about your business, and they will say, please do not pay patronage to that business. Don't engage with them. This is the experience that I had with their people. So you want people who are mature, people who can be a bigger person, people who can be composed, people who can be stable. Even if the hearts are like, bam, 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 they can be stable in the face of whether it's adversity or in this, whatever, an unforeseen situation that has come up. Until such time as they can address the thing. A person who might go out and fall apart or call you and may seem panicky, but in the face of whatever they're going through, appreciating that they're the face of your business. At whatever level, they're the face of your business. So they should have the maturity, the stability, the composure and understanding to represent your business like you would. So why did I say engage people with the track record? How do you know track record? Now, I want to go through these 3 things that you're going to do: to recruit, to onboard, and lead people that have a track record of being responsible, reliable, being resourceful, and resilient. How do you know they have a track record? You're going to ask for references. You're also going to ask competency-based questions when you are going through the recruitment cycle. You get to ask them to give you examples, very fitting examples that are suited to your situation. Now, just before somebody says, what if they're going to be engaged in something, they seem to have the character, the competence, and the connections, the personal, interpersonal relations and maturity for the role, but they haven't done something similar to mine. When I ask you to make, to check whether they have done something similar before, I don't necessarily mean technically the very same thing as you're about to ask them to do for your business during times of crisis. What I mean is, because this is a competency-based, interview that you're going to do, you're going to ask some questions to show where they have exhibited the competencies, the knowledge, the skills, the attitude. And a lot of competencies are transferable across different positions, across industries, across even levels in organizations. So you're basically going to say, what kind of values, what kind of competencies? I need a person who thinks the business, a person who drives results. I need a person who builds, the work culture. So these are competency clusters. So when you ask people of questions, asking them, can they tell you of a time in the past when they were able to do well in, where they exhibited thinking the business? That could be in any other context. It doesn't have to necessarily be in a business similar to yours. And so this is the rationale behind competency-based interviewing. Remember, we're talking about engaging people with a track record of really exhibiting the traits that you need right now in times of crisis. You do not have margin for silliness at all in this time. So you want to make sure you get the right people, but you also want to make sure you are the right person to engage these people. It's not about you people and my people didn't do it. You need to step up too right now. Things have changed, things are different. And so people will emulate you. How you are going to be in times of crisis, no matter what you say and train them, is exactly how they're going to be in times of crisis. They will follow the leader. We follow the leader, even, it's not just children that are following, adults follow. We see nations, citizens making different decisions daily based on what the leader said. The leader says this, the nation goes. Entire adults with grandchildren go and do one thing. Another leader or the same leader goes and changes, their position. Everybody sways another way. So leadership is key. So you need to rise up to be the kind of entrepreneur, the kind of leader in times of crisis that these people you're seeking out, will be. My water. So the rationale behind competency-based questions when you're interviewing, when you're assessing people, is that if this person has shown those competencies before, it is likely that they will do it again. You never ask people, will you do? Can you do? Because what will they say if they're looking for a job right now in times of crisis when there's high unemployment rate globally? When they're not sure where the next meal is going to come from, they're going to say, yes, I can. Right? And as consultants, some of us have even been told, look, just say yes and you'll figure it out as you go. People will say yes, they can. So you're not going to ask them, can you do it or will you do it if I gave you the task? They will say yes, and you will find out on your time when they hit the ground running whether or not they can. You can't afford to do that right now. You cannot afford to do that even in times of normalcy. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to ask them for examples of when they have done before. They have exhibited those competencies, those capabilities before. And you want to know if they've done it before. You want to know if they've done it recently, because it means it's still in them. You want to know if they've done it frequently, because then it means, they've practiced doing that. And out of the abundance of their heart, they will speak, they will do. It's already inbuilt. It's become a habit. It's become part of who they are. So you want to get those examples of their experiences, their skill sets being put on display, their knowledge, where they have successfully done the things that you're about to call them to do. And I don't mean technically, I mean in terms of competencies, that they exhibit that they have them. Of course, there's some areas that are very technical. So if there's certain certifications you need, if there's certain years of experience you need in a certain area, that's a non-negotiable. But you want to generally make sure that as a person, they have the competencies generally for the role that you're calling them for. And this is how you will ask. So if you're going to frame those questions, hey, entrepreneur, I'm sharing all of this good stuff with you guys. This is how you can frame your questions. So think of the STAR, so STAR, right? Ask them for the situation in which they were able to exhibit it. So if you say, can you tell me of a time when you had to lead, you successfully led the team during crisis, right? So and they say, oh, yes, I can think of a time. And you say, okay, so what was the situation? The situation was, we were doing this project, blah, 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 but then the stock market fell. And so our investors and shareholders lost confidence and they started pulling out. I know I'm speaking about something really big and out there, but, just in case you can think of something, or let me look for another example so that I don't speak things that are high and mighty. Okay, let's say, so we're in the middle of delivering something and, our shipment was late. And so we weren't able to do this thing timely. And then, our trucks were stuck in the border. Okay, good. So now that was a situation. That's STAR, right? Then T. So what were the tasks? What exactly were you supposed to do? What was supposed to be done? Well, the thing is, so we were creating this thing and we needed these trucks to deliver these things, which were the inputs. And with that, we would then, so they would list down to you what it is that they had to do, the actual tasks. Why is that key? Because then you can see that they've gone through a similar process before. You can see the way they're thinking. You can see that they have internalized the details of what it would be like to execute on something similar right now. And then you've got that and you're taking your notes. And you take notes, by the way. Don't just listen to people at interviews, no matter how impressive they sound. Take notes, because sometimes we have a bias. They just sound like us, or they sound nice, or whatever it is. Or maybe you heard great things about them, and you're just engaging them based on that. Take notes of what you're hearing. Be as neutral as you can be, just observing and taking notes. And as you've got situation, tasks, A. Now it's the action. So what did you do? The T was the task, what they were supposed to do. The A is the action, is actually what they did do. So what did you do? Given that the trucks were stuck on the border and you had to, get the inputs in so that you can deliver this work, and they will tell you exactly what they did. So now you're getting to see that they were able to manage people and persons during times of crisis. They've done well, and therefore you know that they're likely to do the same right now for you. And then the R is then what was the result? So what was the outcome? Well, because we explained to the client that this is done, it's something that we couldn't control because of what was happening. It was a government decision to delay trucks. They were going through this and the other. The client understood. We were able to send reinforcements. We picked out some of the load from the trucks, enough for us to be able to complete the first element. And at the end of the day, we delivered, maybe 2 days later, and this was done this way, and the other, the CEO was happy. The client was actually really happy that we were able to deliver despite this setback. The team felt stronger. Initially people were very nervous what this would mean, but they felt so much stronger that we were able to do this, through adversity. And honestly, at the end of the year, I had a lot of recommendations from both my peers and the CEO and even the client based on how I manage the situation. You're like, well, interesting. So you note down several competencies, that you think are really key for them to deliver for your business, especially now during crisis, when people are very sensitive, when things are volatile and uncertain. And when you've checked that out, and of course you've done your negotiation and everything, they're on board, I would like you to then look at how you are onboarding people. Because sometimes we make the mistakes of getting people that are very good at what they do and thinking then they just come and do, right? I mean, I'm paying top dollar here, top shilling, top, whatever your currency is. I'm paying top for top talent. Then they come in, they do their thing. No, just because they're the best in the game doesn't mean they just come into your business and do your thing. That's your business. That's your vision. That's your culture. Everybody else they're meeting there, those are your people. You can't just bring people on board and just because they're really good and they've got a great reputation and a great experience, they just waltz in. No, you must steward them. You own the business and not like boss, like this is my thing. You're coming into my turf. I don't mean none of that sheriff stuff. What I mean is they may be good at what they're doing technically, and they may even be brilliant with people, but this is your place. So nobody's going to come to my home and start, just because they're good or they're famous or whatever, start bossing people around my house when people are like, hello, where you come from? And I'm grateful that, he's a big person. He's mature, but no, it's his home. He's the head of the home. So nobody just comes in simply because, they're a hot shot. I digress, but let me come back. This is your outfit. This is your ship. So it is for you when you're onboarding them now, because that's really key. You don't just bring a person and say, there's your desk, get a lot, all the best. Check on me if you need anything. No, you do not. You're setting yourself up for failure. Sometimes we get really good people and we frustrate them because we're not making the effort. We're not investing in really helping them start well. So make sure that you are clear about your personal, organizational, purpose, values, vision, mission, and goals, and communicate them. Don't feel bad about communicating, even your personal ones. Why you started this business, what your journey has been like, what it is that you aim to achieve, where you were going before, the coronavirus hit the world, how you're pivoting right now, and how long you mean to do this, what are some of the adjustments you've made, and where you mean to take this despite everything that's happened. It's good to give them that personal story. And what this organization is, why it exists, what's the challenge you've seen in the marketplace that you believe that, you're there to solve, and that since they've come in to join you, this is exactly what they're rallying behind. There's a great cause. There's a great solution we're bringing. to our customer base. Tell them the values and the culture in which you've built and you really want to strengthen. Let them know the vision and mission and the goals you have, even for now, as your business is in transition, and when it's taken off thereafter. Get this person in to see your business, to see your market niche, to see your client, to see their colleagues the way you see them. Get them in on the vision, get them in on the excitement, get them in on the values, get them to own this business, not just their little thing that you've gotten them to do. So they really get it. They're not just doing what they're there to do and get paid at the end. They're building something significant. And your passion and your commitment to that, they will catch that. And they will go forth in what they're doing with that. You can share then, take them through what your business model is. Don't just get them on their job description to do the little thing. And let them understand how your entire business runs. This is how we do this, and then it goes here, and these people support with this, and we have these externally doing this, and then this, and then at the end of the day we do this, and after that, this is how we take care of the client. So this is how we service, after sales service, etc. Let them know the entire machinery, even if they're not going to be involved in every area. Let them know who are the different players, that are involved in your business, the different stakeholders. And as far as you can, get them introduced to the rest of the team, if you have other people other than yourself. Training comes next. Make sure to train. Leave no stone unturned. Don't assume anything just because they're hot stuff. And don't talk to them apologetically just because they're really good at what they do. Oh, you probably already know this. I guess I can skip through this thing. I mean, you probably did this better when you worked for that big hotshot business. What am I saying to you? Keep you quiet. Whenever you're speaking, whenever you have audience, you're the expert. Stop playing small. Think big. Talk big. Be secure in the seat you're in. This is your business. So even if they may know something different, and of course, as you're training, as you're having conversations, you're giving them room to also share their experience and to share, what has worked well, and so that you can say, oh wow, that sounds amazing. We would love to see that in action here as well, and so that it's not like saying this is my way or the highway, but you must, of course, set the pace, set the strategic direction, and show that you know where you're going. Unless you don't know where you're going, then please DM me, look for me. If you don't know where you're going and you're about to get some people on board. Because people can show up, whether maliciously or not, and veer your business direction if you're not clear about who you are and where you're going. They can literally take it somewhere else because you let go of the reins or you were unclear in the first place. That would be on you. Somebody saying, this is powerful. I'm going to share this with my wife. Please let me have your number. Or you can have my email, hello@modesta.africa, or you can DM me if you'd like to have a conversation with me, and I'll send you my details so that we can speak. Definitely. Thank you so much, Obed Edward. All right. So you've done the training, very detailed training. You want to set them up for success. You want them to be this person that's responsible, reliable, resourceful, resilient. You want them to really, really, really push your business forward, just as you would. You want them to represent you well. Then train them in the details of what they need to succeed and give them an overview of the business. Allow them to see your business from your eyes. Allow them to understand. And so write as much as you can down. I don't mean when you're training, you're reading things out to them. You can give them manuals, but you can also, help them experience what your business is about. And then the last thing is set both performance and personal goals. Listen to this. When people join you, they had many options. Even if right now things may be rough, understand an adult to decide of their own volition to come alongside you is because whoever they are, wherever they're going, they can see themselves progressing aligned with you. They partner with you because a certain level, a subset, or maybe completely overlapping desires of their own, goals of their own, aspirations of their own are going to be met being aligned with you. So when you're setting performance expectations, also set personal ones. What are some goals that you have for them? You better give them goals. Otherwise, whatever they do is fine by them. They do more, they do less. You need to know, and you need to set the goals. But also set personal goals. Is there an area, that satisfies the business that they need to grow in for them to be able to deliver well for you? Is there an area that they would like to grow in? Maybe it's not completely related to what they're doing, but it is within the purview of what the organization is doing, and it would be great for them. To them, that would feel like it's an added value, an added skill set for them to learn in that area. And you can certainly give them cross-functional exposure. You can take them for certain training, as long as it's not taking them away from their business and it's not incurring too much extra cost for you. Do that. Set both performance and personal goals that are, of course, related to the business. You're not here to develop them in just anything for the sake of being nice, but to truly help them grow and own the role. And then I want to say this about leading people. So you're engaging the right people with the right character, competence, and connection, right? You then must educate, like the training, educate them in the things that they need to know. Give them a fighting chance. Set them up for success. Then you're going to equip them with whatever it is they need, which is why in your performance, when you're starting out with setting your performance goals, you will also have an area where you're equipping them if they need training, if they need exposure to certain things, if they need to visit certain things. Okay, maybe now we're not moving much and visiting things. Then you empower them. Remember I was talking about delegating? That you've truly recruited well, so you've got the right person. You have trained them well, you've onboarded them well. They understand their role, they understand what the business does, they know the different players, the stakeholders, the difference that your business brings, the solution it brings to your target market. Empower them then, not only with the task to do, but also the responsibility to make decision within the purview of their role, to make a decision for themselves, to make a decision for others. Some people you might even get to a point where you're trusting them, not only with people decisions, maybe even pecuniary, maybe even financial decisions. Now you then decide what kind of checks and balances you have so that, you can feel comfortable trusting them. But it's key. Otherwise, you're going to be over people all the time. And these are not the times to do that. And then elevate them. You have empowered them. They're delivering for you. They're delivering in your name. When people see them, when people speak to them, when people read the things they've done, when people see their work, they see you and they represent you well. Elevate these people. Whether you're elevating them in terms of promotion, whether it's added responsibility, added complexity, whether you're giving them opportunities for training, you're giving them opportunities for exposure, you're recommending them, to lead certain projects, whatever it is. Make sure, pecuniary as well, that you're giving them a pay raise. Recognize when you get people that have a track record of doing very well. Recognize them. Give them the incentives, the rewards to not only do better, but to prosper in their own lives. When people align with you, they're taking of their lives and choosing to spend those hours and their skill set and everything that is inbuilt in them and bringing in at your service for a fee. And they do that and represent your business as well as you would yourself, sometimes even better. Recognize these people, elevate them. So part of, and the sweetest thing for me in business is to recognize amazing people, equip them to do the best that they absolutely could. When you engage with me, I want you to be better than me. Ask anybody that has worked with me. That is what I set out to do. I want you to be a star. And by God's grace, they actually are. And then you promote them and you take an interest in the things that interest them and you further them in all that they can be. You have not heard of connection, a loyalty, a delivery like a person who has been recognized, that has been rewarded, and that has been elevated by the leader that they work with. So there, guys, looking at engaging people in times of crisis, make sure that they have a track record of being responsible, of being reliable, of being resourceful, resilient people with character, competence, and interpersonal connection. And you can set yourself up for success by recruiting well, checking competencies, things they've done before that, then if they've done it before, they will do it again. By onboarding them, putting all that you can to make sure that they start well and that they can do this thing successfully. And leading them in such a way that you can release them to represent you and you can release them to do well. What if you invest too much and they leave you? Oh, that's a risk you take in life. Anybody can leave you for any reason, none at all. But what if you don't invest in them and then they represent you? What's going to happen to your business on the other side of COVID-19? So it's best that you invest in them. And of course, before you get them on board, go get those references. Character references, competency references, even connection references. Those that are provided, and you can even ask around so that you are sure that you've got the right people. And you are sure that not only will you weather the current transition that we're in because of this pandemic and this crisis, but you will use the challenges that you have right now and so pivot your business, so pivot your strategies that it will be the platform on which you will take off after this thing. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I always love coming to these things. I pray that this has spoken to you. This is equipping you. Like I said, we understand there are a lot of things happening and sometimes we feel like they're out of our control, but I want to come to you with what you can do for your career, for your business, what you can do to distinguish your personal brand, what you can do to make sure that you're positioning to increase your income, your influence, and your impact. I am about what you can do. Because if I dwell too much on what I can, I will sit paralyzed. I will panic and just sit. But I would like us to get on the driver's seat of our success and for the impact that we have to transform the world around us. And so if you're enjoying this, you can find this and all the other videos on this series for entrepreneurs and the strategies they can employ in times of crisis to think big and grow strategically on Purpose and Excellence Academy. Like I mentioned to Obed a little earlier, you can get me, you can DM me, and we can start a conversation, or go, send an email on hello@modesta.africa, or go to modesta.africa and you'll see the many different ways in which you can engage me and work with me, both for your career success and your business growth. So from me, Modesta Mahiga, your executive leadership coach, career advisor, and business consultant, I'll catch up with you tomorrow when we're talking about how to take your business online and what are tools and apps you can use to make sure that you are visible and effective. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, day. See you tomorrow. Bye.